Hello everybody, back here with a Go Format deck profile. This time a deck based around Paladin of White Dragon, Ritual Monster, as well as subsequently Blue Eyes White Dragon itself. Paladin of White Dragon is a level 4 ritual with 1900 attack, 1200 defense, that you contribute to special summon one Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or deck, but that Blue Eyes White Dragon can't attack for the rest of the turn. But it has one effect too that a lot of people forget about because they usually only use it for that last effect. And that effect is at the start of the damage step, this card attacks a face down defense position monster. Destroy that face down monster. So it doesn't get to flip and doesn't have to apply its defense or anything, it's just automatically destroyed. Because that effect is so potent here in Go format, a lot of times you actually don't even want to tribute it for Blue Eyes White Dragon. Also because Blue Eyes White Dragon itself ends up becoming a detriment. The opponent snatch steals it or takes it. But regardless, it's still nice to have the option for Blue Eyes White Dragon. So we include 2 copies of that alongside the 3 copies of Paladin White Dragon. To search for our Paladin White Dragon, we have 3 Manju 10,000 hands to add either the ritual or the monster when it's no more flip summoned. Which the flip summon part can come in handy quite a bit in this deck. As well, we have 2 Senju of the 1000 hands to add the ritual monster, and 1 copy of Sonic Bird, since having the ritual is not as important as the monster, since you can always tribute extra copies of the monster to summon another copy. Also, to help from losing advantage by ritual summoning, we have 3 copies of Thunder Dragon, so you can end up just using White Dragon Ritual to tribute one of your Thunder Dragons. They got extra, and you don't technically end out losing advantage in that case. Since we're running Blue Eyes, we also have the 1 copy of Kaiba Man. You could potentially even take it out since we're only running 2 copies, but it's searchable with Sangan in this deck, and it's nice to be able to get the extra copies of Blue Eyes out of her hand without having to attribute it to White Dragon Ritual. I would never say no to a 3k beater, but this is potentially cuttable in this deck. Especially because it's level 3, so if you need to, you can't really attribute it for Paladin of White Dragon. Then an enabler in this deck, we have 1 copy of Tsukuyomi, which can either reset our own ritual searchers to allow us to flip some of them and reuse their effects, or it can set monsters face down to then be attacked with Paladin of White Dragon and subsequently destroyed with its effect. So pretty much any monster with these 2 they combine to destroy. As well, if you want, you could summon Tsukuyomi, then tribute it with White Dragon Ritual to summon Paladin of White Dragon and attack the monster and destroy. Then, of course, you have the 1 copy of Sangan to search our cards in this deck. 1 Brick of the Magical Warrior to sort of like Tsukuyomi to summon it, use its effect, and then tribute it off with White Dragon Ritual. And then to help us keep advantage in this deck because you end up losing a lot of advantage, and because we're running the Thunder Dragons for hand advantage, we have 1 copy of Tribe Infected Virus. And of course, we play the duo, Graceful, and Pot of Greed. We're running 3 copies of the White Dragon Ritual. For a long time, I was only running 2, but you might end up having to discard it for something like a Tribe Infecting Virus, or the opponent might duo you. You could possibly even lose 2 off of that duo, in which case, pretty much your whole deck is useless at that point. So I feel like you really have to run 3 in this deck. I've lost so many times because I ended up losing the White Dragon Ritual and not being able to use it. Then we have 3 copies of Book of Moon. Again, like Tsukuyomi, to combo with Paladin White Dragon, reset our cards, and to stop opponents relinquished, which really hurts this deck. Stealing our Blue Eyes White Dragon and hitting us in the face with it, or snatch stealing it, or using Bring a Destruction on it. So many things that can happen that screw us over because we have a huge monster. And of course we have the Heavy Storm, Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 copies of Nobleman, since we're setting so many things and we setting so many monsters of theirs, and we really don't want full effects to go off. Premature Burial and Snatch Steal to potentially steal the opponent's monster, and then either tribute it for Tribute Summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, or a Thunder Dragon, or with a White Dragon Ritual. Then we have 1 copy called the Haunted, potentially bring back Blue Eyes, or a Paladin of White Dragon that you ended up having destroyed, or you ended up sacking it for the summon of Blue Eyes White Dragon. And we have 1 Mirror Force, of course, and 1 Torrential. And then we're playing 3 Solemn Judgment because this deck loses really hard again if the opponent uses something like Relinquished or Thousand Eyes Restrict, or if they summon their own boss monsters, we can get really screwed. And of course, we don't want to run into any opposing Mirror Forces or Torrentials when running this deck, because we could end up with absolutely nothing because the rituals cost us so much to be able to play. That's pretty much it for this build, but some ideas for ways you could go in this deck too are you could go for a heavier warrior engine in this deck to search up Kaiba Man, and you could also run Free the Brave Wanderer as a one-of because you have so many light monsters in his deck. You could also include things like Dekoichi to better get advantage from your cards, in which case you could turn this into a Chaos deck as well, and Tsukuyomi's help you with that. You could include a Morphing Jar to help you get back card advantage because you're losing so much of it through ritual summoning, but it has a very high potential to backfire on you as well. Helps them get removal. Chaos decks really love it when you discard their hands so that they get their bricky cards out and they can summon their chaos monsters. You could also, if you make this more of a Blue Eyes center deck, which this one specifically is only slightly Blue Eyes, you could include a Burst Stream of Destruction. I used to have it as a one-of. It's an extremely gimmicky card, but you get to pull it off in the right situation. It's very satisfying. Something you could consider instead of Solemns, you'd be running My Body as a Shield, but that doesn't stop your opponent from Snatch Stealing your monster or Thousand Eyes Restricting your monster, which is really what we're afraid of the most with this deck. And you could go potentially a Soul Exchange or Brain Control engine, but it's really hard to say if that's worth it in the end. You can't attempt to Ritual Summon with Soul Exchange for a face down monster, because you have to know that it's possible to summon the monster with the ritual before you can even attempt it. Because these cards, they don't send as a cost, but you have to know that you can use it, which, by the way, if you didn't know, these aren't a cost to send the monsters, it's part of the resolution of the effect. A lot of people forget that when they end up negating it. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoy this and that you'll try the deck out. And even if you don't, let me know what you think, and have a great one.